Hey neighbor, welcome back to ARTV. I'm John and this is the first episode of 7 on Sunday in the new decade and the new year 2020. It's the 206th episode overall, and this year actually marks the 7th anniversary of the series beginning all the way back in 2013. To celebrate this momentous occasion, the first 7 episodes of 2020, naturally, will all be sequels to some of the most popular and beloved episodes I've done to date. To spearhead the sequel campaign, I'm kicking it off with a good old, possibly controversial bang. 7 songs I can't stand from bands I love. The tension in the room is certainly being felt on my end, but hey, we can't all love every single song from our favorite bands, at least not the majority of the time. There's generally at least a few songs that irritate you, get under your skin perhaps, and the more you hear them, you just don't want to hear them anymore. Now, do try to keep this in mind. Just because I don't like the songs, it doesn't mean that I absolutely hate them and everything they stand for. It just means that I personally kinda can't stand them. This is part 2 of this video, and if you haven't seen part 1, then tap the card on screen here, or better yet, just wait till the end of the video and hit the link in the end slate. Let's get this bonfire roaring, so if you enjoy what you see today, do me a huge favor, take a split second out of your time, massacre that like button, leave no witnesses, and then subscribe if you happen to be new in town. Sing was never a top favorite of mine on Danger Days, but my disdain for this song, especially the chorus, has only soured more as the years have zipped by. There's plenty of really cool and invigorating elements to Sing, so no, I don't hate this song. Rather, it's just kind of bored me to death with its ever-repetitive chorus that never lets off the gas pedal even when we've driven the car through a wall. I think for me, the best parts hit during the verses and the bridge, which is actually fantastic, especially with the keep running punch right before the hook swarms back in. But I'd be lying if I said it was all worthwhile at this point to hear the escalating variations of Sing or Sing It Out for the entire duration of the song. My Kim's anthem got overexposed in some circles. Hell, I even had a friend that was borderline obsessed with the fucking Glee version of the song. But hey, the track still has a pretty kick-ass fade out, so kudos to certain aspects of the band's instrumentation once again, but Sing won't be hitting any of my best of list when it comes to MCR anytime soon.
And all them big jungle cats get it. And I bet your little dog gets it. Yeah, I want to get with it.
Criticizing a White Stripes song for being too simplistic would be like shooting myself in the foot. So no, before you start walking towards me like Negan with his baseball bat, I'm not only against this song because of its pitter-pattering guitar and vocals. That actually works for them a good majority of the time, I'd say. With the Stripes being one of my top 10 favorite bands, I had to really dive bomb through their discography to remind myself of something that I actively disliked, but then I kinda re-stumbled across Instinct Blues, a swampy track from their 2005 album Get Behind Me, Satan. I call it swampy because I can picture Jack White sitting at a bayou strumming a guitar on a summer night for one, but also because it tends to just go nowhere and just kind of exist, sort of like a swamp. The lyrics are probably the main reason why I find this one kind of laughable. I mean, I know it's not trying to be anything too profound, but Jack White is essentially here saying, let's get it on, baby, while rattling off a bunch of animals that get it. It's about sex. Of course, it's a sex song with little to no subtlety that feels like a teenager fumbling around in the dark, unsuccessfully unhooking a bra. Bluesy as it may be, the shoe didn't fit the White Stripes as well as I think they think it did. Singing the blues is definitely something Jack's proven himself is capable of doing, but this murky water doesn't look too ideal for swimming in if you catch my drift. You want me to get with it? Well, maybe I'll just float my boat in a different body of water. Damn it, I just had to get more into Joy Division and ruin this song for myself, didn't I? Yeah, the ever-effective medicine for copycat syndrome broke my feelings on I Want It All by the British rockers Arctic Monkeys, and not that I was ever that keen on this track, but at this point, all I can hear is Ian Curtis's voice and that striking guitar from the 70s classic. That's all personal interpretation though, don't let me ruin your good time for that reason alone. I just don't find this song to be all that interesting one way or the other. The music features a rather droll guitar riff, syncopated drum and bass sections that rarely stir the pot, and rather uninspired vocals from a generally explosive in one way or the other Alex Turner. He's one of my favorite frontmen in modern rock, but damn, it just feels like he's sitting there watching the pendulum on a clock sway back and forth at times while singing I Want It All. It's by no means awful, and I certainly wouldn't be upset if I heard this song in passing or in a friend's car or something, but this cut from AM certainly isn't something that I would ever seek out for myself.
Steady little soldier, I ain't standing next to you. I'd be laying on the ground before you're even in my view like that.
Mike, buddy, no, you're a much better rapper than what this song would signal to a listener if they happened to start here with Linkin Park or your solo music. Until It Breaks has gotten to the point of inducing eye rolls from me over the years the more I hear this, and it really stands out as the guilty party in the tracklist lineup of living things. Until It Breaks just feels like Mike Shinoda clumsily stitching together rhymes on the spot, but at the same time, it feels very cold and very calculated. They tried to take a lot of elements to task here, but most of them sadly collapse and implode around the band, and even as Brad Delson brings in some cool little background experiments, and I think the drums are decent on this track, it can't really save the band overall. Chester Bennington's little vocal refrain is okay, I guess, but it really feels out of place. Almost like you walk into the family reunion to start greeting everyone, and you're like, oh shit, this isn't my family at all. I don't belong in this stranger's house. God, I mean, I want to like this more than I do, but it's the small missteps like this that let me see inside of the minds of those people who hate this band, and I'm like, this must be what they hear all the time. There's a fine line between the mainstream pop bubble and that of the underground or indie circuit. It's completely fine to flirt with that world, but when I start to take issue is when you burst the indie synth pop bubble entirely and just go outright pop without bringing any of your original wit or spirit to the track. I'm of course talking about the Scottish synth pop trio CHVRCHES and their single Never Say Die from 2018's Love Is Dead. I don't feel that much of anything when I sit through the song. It's almost become a bit of a chore to get through, with its redundant message that sounds way too flat and generic. Plus, outside of a few colorful synth moments, including that awesome crescendo leading to the drop before the chorus, the magic of the band is kinda gone, vanished out of thin air right before our ears. Some of you might be surprised that I didn't pick Miracle, since it's pretty much equally as poppy, featuring a lot of similar ideas, sounds, and even vocal manipulations, but I actually feel like Lauren Mayberry's personality bleeds through more prominently on that song. Never Say Die, however, goes for the mass-appealing anthemic route with none of the real heart to back it up, which is the main reason why it sounds so low-key lifeless, DOA even. Note to self, do not let Dan Auerbach produce my garage rock solo album. Cage the Elephant did an oopsie, a big old oopsie at the end of 2015, and that mistake paid off in the form of a Grammy win for Best Alternative Rock Album, so what the fuck do I know? Clearly I'm not a fan of the retro-leaning haze that Cage tried to tap into with Tell Me I'm Pretty, so instead, let me go for the throat of something maybe more people can relate to me on. Mess Around is Cage the Elephant's worst single by a comfortable margin. It's aimless, done to death, and out of character for their normally really appealing sound. Mess Around not only sounds like a Black Keys B-side due to Auerbach producing, but it also makes the mistake of being too carefree and too loose to the point where it actively sounds like the band are trying to make you feel like they just showed up in the studio, made this in a few minutes, and put it out. It's okay to spend a little bit or a lot more time with the fine-tuning. God knows this album suffered from that overall, but I just felt like the lack of ingenuity on Mess Around was an earache overall. It's an earache waiting to happen, and it's a song that I really just don't like revisiting, especially if I forget my phone and have to turn on the radio and this track comes on. Yep, no apologies here. Soul to Squeeze by the Red Hot Chili Peppers grabs the seat of death at number 1 today, so feel free to come over, hang me from a flagpole, whatever the hell else you feel like doing to me as punishment for this controversial hot take. At this point, I really wouldn't be doing anything new if I compared this 90s hit to their other smash hit, Under the Bridge. I mean, that's the main reason Soul to Squeeze was left off of Blood Sugar Sex Magik, and I totally get why. I mean, why would we need another song that sounds so similar, yet in a much more underwhelming way? Under the Bridge is one of my favorite Chili Peppers tracks, but I want to make it clear that my beef with Soul has really nothing to do with the similarities, but instead everything to do with the over-exaggerated vocal stylings of Anthony Kiedis that almost sound like a karaoke parody of himself. John Frusciante manages to pack in some of that blissful guitar, and there's moments that really do jump off the page, but Flea's bumbling bass doesn't do a ton for me, even though he does feel really locked in with the mood that Chad Smith is laying down on the drums. It's really all about the vocals for me on this one, and they do not quit. They keep going. They just progressively get more and more annoying, and like I said, they kind of sound like a parody of themselves as Anthony rolls off the chorus, "Where I go, I just don't know," for like the 10th time. At least that's what it feels like by the end of the song. I can respect the track's intimate nature lyrically and the harrowing life journeys he was trying to convey, but holy shit, the song overall just gets on my every last nerve. Even when I was a kid spinning the greatest hits album all the time, this became my go-to track for skipping right on over each time it came up. That's a wrap. We've officially broken ground on 7 on Sunday for 2020. I'm excited to get more content rolling, and let me know in the comment section down below what you thought of my hot take opinions today and what sequel episodes you're looking forward to possibly seeing in 2020 as I do more of those. Don't forget to drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it. A like goes a long way, and subscribe if you happen to be new to the channel. For those who want to go the extra mile to support the content throughout the year, then join my Patreon. It's the top link down below. We're currently working towards the goal of unlocking my top 100 favorite songs of all time. If you want to see the first installment of this series, songs that I can't stand from bands that I love, then tap this card here, or tap right over here for another recent episode of 7 on Sunday. All of my socials can be found in the description, and I will see you soon for more on ARTV.